you.
Oh, there you go. It's live now. It's live now. So we're good to go.
Now. Yep. Okay. Thanks, Alan. Just continuing on our annual plan workshop and looking at the cost centre lines. Welcome to everyone out there. Welcome back, councillors and members of the public and also staff. So thanks, Alan. If you could take it from there.
Okay, Neil. Whoops. Can you bring it up on the screen?
Has that come up now on everyone's screen?
It is, Neil, but I think if we just go down to, I think we would at just past FBT, I think from memory.
Yeah, we're just into audit fees now.
Yes, FBT was back up there, so we are at the starting point, I believe.
Yeah, audit fees. Yep, cool. Thank you.
That's not negotiable.
We wish it was.
Yeah.
How come it is double though?
Yes,
just double for money, but
just to explain the increase here. So every 3 years when we do an LTP, there's an additional audit fee, so we don't get audited on the annual plans. So you got your standard annual report audit fee, but then when you do an LTP, it's double. So that's what this is, unfortunately, that year.
Okay, thank you.
okay, the next one, consultancy costs. I'll get Kevin to talk to this lot.
Yep. Afternoon, councillors. What we've got here is quite a big line item there, but you'll see there's a substantive cut in that. Just a reminder, I went to a presentation last week, I think it was, or the week before, a webinar, and it was a gentleman named, just get his name here, Graham Mitchell, and he's the CE of Crown Institute Partners. So Mark Bin Shovel Ready stuff. He looks after all of the work in that space. And one thing he definitely mentioned in that was around the ability and what he wanted councils to do in particular is to make sure you leverage on the expertise that is out there. As council, we can't hold on to the expertise and those consultants for lots of the stuff that we simply could never employ someone because we don't use them all the time. And these are things around hydraulic modelling, geotech type experts, traffic modelers, all of those types of things. A whole heap of resource consent planners in the application side as well, seismic specialist erosion. There's a whole heap of them. So it was just interesting. I thought it was a good segue into this. What I will do though is I'll have a chat about one of the large line items. It's over a third is purely in the water and the wastewater area. So I'll just run through quickly what some of this allows us to do. But more importantly, I'm gonna also concentrate on some of the things that we've had to cut out, just to make sure that we're all aware of those risks in those areas. And we can't just go through and cut things without having some consequences. And these are the consequences. And yes, as a SLT, we think we can live with those, but we certainly want to share those with you as elected members as well. So some of the things that it does allow us to do at the moment is a backflow testing program. And this is legislated. We definitely need to do that. Water loss strategy. We'll do the bare basics on that, and I'll come back to that as well as a legislative requirement as well, and something that we've said that we would do. Water demand management plan. We are required to have that for our consents to do that. Hydraulic modelling. I'll come back to that as well, but we're doing some hydraulic modelling. What that allows you to do is to make some clear decisions going forward, and so you don't oversize things. You don't you don't spend extra money that you don't need. You really understand your system before you go ahead and build anything in particular. But again, we'll come back to that because we'll do the bare minimum in that space, but it's some of the money that we've had to cut is in that area. So we won't have enough to do what I'd call a fully verified model, and that we can run for all future developments and run for other work as well. We'll have to put that out for another year or two to make sure we can maintain that. Data quality, we all know that we've the bar has been raised in the drinking water standards, but also in the resource consents for the wastewater. And we're on a pretty elaborate program to get that up to date across our many sites. And again, just a reminder for those who've forgotten, we have a lot of water sites and we have a lot of wastewater sites. So, you know, it does take a while to get around these, but we run some pretty high consequences if our monitoring lets us down, and we're in the process of making sure that that is where it needs to be as such. Also got a lot of money set aside there for some assistance to get a wastewater consent in for Turangi. It's a significant amount. It's a big consent. And it also leads into some substantive capital works, which will be highlighted through the LTP process. Another piece of work that we will be doing included in that is around Turangi and infiltration inflow study. Again, that allows you to actually do a lot of work and making sure that what you do with your renewals and your pump upgrades and all that is optimized. So spending a little bit now can save you a lot in capital works and a lot of operational costs going forward. Again, this is another one of those ones that we can do what we would call, it certainly won't be best practice. We're walking away from best practice and doing something which is acceptable, fit for purpose for this 1 year. We will have to move into something more substantive in the following years to do that. But I'll just get up to some other things here that we've decided that we will push out, and we had a substantive amount of money to do reservoir condition assessments. This is something that we've done them all when we build them. We keep checking them and monitoring them. But since the seismic type, all of those types of assessments and the criteria in it have changed after the earthquake. It takes quite a few years to come through and get through all of the processes it needs to be. But now we have to reassess those. But we're saying, well, we can probably live with that without this year. Best practice would be we would get that in now and feed that into the LTP, any things that we needed to. But what we will be doing is putting that type of investigative work into the LTP, which is next year, and we'll have to come back in subsequent annual plans if there's any urgent work to be done in that area. There's also water safety education programs and other things that we've indicated in our water strategy that we would want to start. This is just not the right time to do those. Water loss strategy implementation, something that I mentioned before, but we're certainly only going to what is the bare minimum required there, spending about 25% of the money that we probably think we need to do. The other one will, when we get into year 1, year 2 of the LTP, we can actually get some benefits from those operational, not just around demand management, where we can really make it smarter for us. And probably the last one, again, I think I mentioned hydraulic modeling. Again, we'll be doing the bare minimum for that, spending only about 1/3 of the amount of money that we initially thought we need to spend. Again, this is probably just practice rather than best practice. In fact, this is quite a way. It's probably just acceptable practice to make sure that we are not wasting money in our subsequent decisions that we have to make around the capital expenditure on our capital works. So that's just a whistle-stop tour, but I just wanted to really make you aware that we've gone through these budgets, particularly in the water and the wastewater. They are tight. We have walked away from best practice in lots of places. We're staying there in those legislative ones, and we are carrying a little bit of risk. But we, as long as we have those discussions through the LTP, it is something that we feel that as a leadership team we can live with. I think you're probably going to ask me the question, will I sleep at night? Probably not that well, but at the end of the day, we're in these extraordinary circumstances. We've got to be. So it is something that it does carry a little bit of risk with, but we've had to do that throughout all of our budgets. It's just an opportunity to make you aware of the work that's gone on behind this in this space. Another key piece of the spending is for consultants fees is in the district plant. And that's a substantive piece of money, but it will be amortized. Neil, correct me if I'm wrong. It's a word I learned just the other week. But it's something that we can take a loan out for, basically, and pay it off as we go through. So even as a substantive piece of the consultant's fees, it is something. It's like depreciation. We'll pay it off over a certain time. And the only other one that I want to mention is something around deliverability. I think we're now in this place where more so than any time, if we're taking money off our ratepayers if we're promising our community and our businesses out there that we are going to have a fair bit of money set aside for delivering our projects, we want to make sure that we are ready to deliver those. So we've put money into held money in those areas that will improve the using Graham Mitchell's words again from the Crown Institute partners. You know, it's all about execute, execute, execute. And the stuff that we're working on and have been working on for a while is making sure that our project management is up to space, making sure that we can be very agile in our procurement, looking at all of our practices. What we did last year won't cut the cake going forward. There won't be enough people out there to do it once the CIP type stuff comes through. We need to make sure we've got a pipeline of works needing to be ready. And we need to, something I mentioned before, is aligning ourselves with good quality experienced consultants because we can't hold that expertise in-house. We just simply can't afford it. And the need is to be an intelligent client. There's something he reiterated on many occasions there. And this is our step in doing that. So that's why some of the consultants fees are dedicated to making sure that not just in the infrastructure area, operations area, but across the entire organisation, that we're doing the bundling that we can make the best out of our tenders going forward in our procurement processes, making sure that we are maintaining our project management. Even more so now we've cut our training budget, we're going to have to do that all in-house. So we won't be able to send people off to get trained in project management like we have done beforehand. And I think just as an example, it was this morning we're looking at them. One of the last lines we will look at is to do with consents, but it's really to do with the Eurofins contract. That's the monitoring contract that we have. It used to be done by MB Century. An example is we probably used some experienced people out there in the consultant world to assist us, probably 20K circa about 20K we spent on that with them because they deal in this year in, year out. We only look at one of these contracts probably once every 5 to 7 years. They brought in some lab specialists as well that we leveraged on, and then our team took over and did a lot of good work. You'll see from that bottom line, we're saving $100,000 every single year. So it's investment in making better decisions going forward. We tend to use these. So happy to take any questions. The team can help me out if there are anything on the district plan or other stuff. But I thought that was worthwhile just having an overview of that one line. It is substantive. We have cut it down by a large amount, but happy to take any questions.
Okay, thanks, Kev. Any questions are given there?
Yes, Your Worship, just
Yep.
with the Kevin mentioned the district plan, I guess, between Kevin and Neil, talk about amortisation or borrowing money to, apart from the disruption of progressing the review of the district plan comprehensively. What's the money we're talking about for amortising?
I'll let Neil handle that one if you can. I know the overall figure for this year, but Neil can answer that. Thanks.
Alan, did you want to do that or me?
No, well, we can tag team it, but there's 324,000 of consultancy costs in that particular financial year. The overall cost of creating the district plan, because it's quite a long process, is about $2 million. It has a 10-year life. So we look at expensing that over the 10-year life. So once it's fully adopted, then we're looking at round figures of 200,000 a year that we actually expense through rates. So that's what we talk about, amortisation. So you can add to that, Neil.
That's absolutely spot on. I don't think I need to add to that.
Yep. Okay. No, pretty straightforward. Yep. Cool.
Yeah,
okay. Any other questions? Consultants fees. I'm sure it's. Yeah. Yep. No, that's cool. Okay. Well, let's carry on. Professional fees, councillors' fees.
Yeah, I'll cover the professional fees one just briefly. So pretty much this covers our treasury operations. So our Standard & Poor's credit rating. is in here, as well as the operation of our treasury operation, basically. So our registry services are provided by a company called Link Market Services, and our trustee is trustees and executors. So it's basically the cost of running a treasury operation, which includes obviously your investment and debt portfolio. So it's it's a legislative requirement that you have to do. Obviously, you've got choices around S&P, but there is a benefit in the basis point benefit in your interest rate cost by having that, and obviously a credibility benefit as well, of which we are one of the strongest rated local authorities in New Zealand. So that's happy to take any questions on that.
Thanks, Neil.
Added to that, that when we're talking treasury management, we're talking the sum of investments and debt. So we're talking 250 million.
Cool. Very good. There's Standard & Poor's don't really have an opposition, do they? Moody's perhaps, or someone like that. But Standard & Poor's are pretty much the recognised ones, aren't they?
Yeah, there's three main ones globally, which is Standard & Poor's, Fitch, and Moody's. So they're the three, but Standard & Poor's has got the largest market share in New Zealand, and certainly
cool.
of the local authorities.
Okay, thanks, Neil. Okay, if we carry on, please.
Okay, the next one's not negotiable.
Well, wait on, hang on a minute. They might wanna-
Hang on, it could be.
People might not want to be paid.
I was waiting for a reaction on that one.
Everyone's prepared to credit back to the general ledger their wage incomes, is it? Is that correct?
Yeah, that's
Silence. No, that's right.
yeah.
Sorry, my screen must have frozen. I couldn't hear anything there.
David, could I ask a question in this regards? We got a letter from the Remuneration Authority.
Yes, yes, John.
That may well impact
Yes.
on our payments going forward.
Yeah.
Has that been
No,
exactly?
so it'll only impact potentially on one, which is His Worship. You'll see in the letter it talked. Sorry, in the letter it talked about having the cap, and I think it was $100,000 was so salaries over above that by the members, which in our case is only His Worship. Other councils, you can imagine, Auckland Council and others have a wide range of councillors and local board members that are over that amount. So I understand that that's still coming. They haven't made the determination yet, and so we haven't budgeted for any change in here because we simply don't know what that's going to be yet, or whether it's a voluntary thing or a mandatory thing. What the percentage is, it's just too soon to tell.
Yeah,
Thank you.
I've advised the Red Cross and Salvation Army just to adjust their budgeting figures going forward to reduce my donation. Anyway, right, thank you. Carry on.
Okay, the debt collection, we've dropped it slightly. It's been pretty much that sort of number for a number of years. Yeah, it's done very much on a case-by-case basis, and so we don't have any grounds to make any significant change to that particular expense.
Alan, just on that, that's obviously fees to Bay Corp or whoever. Is that, we wouldn't be able to do that in-house now, or is it it's a touchy one, isn't it?
Yeah, well, once you get to the legal side of affairs, as far as your debt collection, etc., we do a lot of the stuff in-house, but then it gets to a certain degree of complexity where we have to outsource it.
Okay.
Sorry, Your Worship, could I just come back, please, to the 2811 council travel time? What's the background to that? Does that include the decision council made to accept the payment if you drive for over an hour, or is it part of the costings for those in the outlying areas who've got a bit of travel to get to our central point?
Tina might be the right one to answer that one.
Yeah, so this is the time aspect of councillors travelling to meetings. There's two parts, the time and then the actual travel in relation to vehicle expenses.
Well, through you, Your Worship, when this came into the chamber, I opposed it, and I still do. I believe that we are rewarded for the job we do, and the fact that we have to drive to a meeting that's more than an hour is no different than a councillor sitting at home doing his research for a forthcoming meeting that exceeds an hour. And I think it just show a little bit of goodwill to our district that we are prepared to make some, wrong word, but I'm going to use it, sacrifices in regards to what we receive for payments.
So this, Tina, is clarified as time and petrol?
No, this is just time, Your Worship, and there's no time limit. There's no hour involved. So I think it's I think it might be 30 minutes as a
So Tina, just, I don't know the answer to this question, but is it legislated or provided for by the REM authority or others, or can it be changed if there was a desire to change it by councillors?
Yep. So it's in our policy. It's not a requirement by the REM authority, and some elected members do claim and some don't. So even at the moment.
Can I just clarify, Tina? Sorry about the K. So we used to get paid by a number of Ks. Where does that fit in?
So that's under travel, which will be further down the expenses list.
I think we
so
did
that's
it earlier on, didn't we? I think we did travel.
Yeah, so it'll be in that one.
Oh,
So there's
okay.
two separate payments. So one is for
okay.
the yep. So one's for the mileage, so that's your vehicle expenses, and the other one is for the time, and that's to recognise the distance that you know, some members do have to travel in larger districts.
Just through the chair. So for clarity, though, this isn't just a normal meetings. This would be if you're going to, say, a meeting in Rotorua or something, is it?
Yeah, correct.
Right, because nobody would travel to a normal meeting over an hour.
No.
So in theory, I see what Councillor Body's saying, but this isn't for day-to-day stuff. This is actually if you go out of the district and give your time. So it's a bit different than just travelling to a normal work day.
So the travel time is anything under half an hour is paid at half the rate, and anything over an hour. So your first hour of travel is basically free. There's no charge, and then anything over that is paid.
Yeah, so I'm trying to go for the clarity here that it's not a day-to-day. It's not like we're coming to a normal council meeting and claiming to do that, because I can see what John's saying. But what we are saying is if we were to go out to do a meeting, say in Rotorua or Auckland or whatever, we're claiming for our time after an hour.
So no, so just to clarify, so say yourself in Turangi, if you travel up to Taupo for a meeting, because it's between the half an hour and an hour travel, you can claim.
Okay, I didn't think you could claim for under an hour. Okay, that's cool. Doesn't, yeah.
Yeah.
I'll double check the policy, and
yeah,
we can come back to that discussion.
It just seems a lot for.
So
for...
in the good old, yeah. Let's just clarify that policy and just to. Sorry, Tina, can you hear me now?
Yep.
Yeah. Let's just get that policy clarified, because in the good old days, you got paid for the Ks because you're obviously putting petrol in your car. But I didn't realise this time thing was there. So perhaps if we could have a look at that policy. I don't know when we just to clarify. So
we can do that.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes. Okay. Thank you, Your Worship.
Yep. Good as gold. Okay. Donation, debt collection. Yeah. So there's no other way of collecting Bay Court. There's no having in the house, Alan. Once the complexities. No. So you're saying there's 80 odd grand of complexities every year. So it's okay. All right.
It's based on actuals. I don't know. I guess the key is that you're getting your money back. So there's a income line with it as well.
Of course there is. Yeah. Okay. Donations, grants, and sponsorships. So obviously the big one there with the Iron Man.
So we have to be a wee bit careful about some of this conversation, and that a couple of these, of course, are in confidence, particularly Iron Man. So the exact dollar amount is still in confidence. So we just need to be aware of that when you're talking this line.
Okay. Okay. Cool.
So just through the chair, is this where the youth awards would sit?
I would say so. Sorry. I'm having technical details here.
I think so, Anna, and I'm not 100% sure, but it would. I think so. I think our contribution to the Youth Awards would be there. Yes.
I'm just wondering.
131 community projects.
Okay, I'll wait.
Okay, so the donation grants, excluding Ironman, it'd be good to get a list of those, would it, or not really? Was it not worth it? No, it's quite, obviously there's a lot of money involved there.
So, John, do you want to? Is John with us? John Ridd? John mustn't be with us.
Okay.
We can certainly, we'll come, how about we park on that, because I think John and Steve and myself have done a whole lot of work on it. It is a reduction in terms of the grant that we normally do each year for events, bearing in mind that we're in the middle of COVID. But John doesn't appear to be with us. So let's,
I am with you, Gareth.
Yeah. Oh, you are.
If we ignore the Ironman side of things, the major event, because don't forget there's income and expenditure as well. So we've reduced the startup grants, if you like, if I use that phrase, which we use to support events for the first 3 years on a reducing amount. So we've reduced that by 10%. But we're really conscious that events are really what makes this town hum. And if you talk to the retailers, you know, we're just being really cautious on this one, because if we're going to stand things up quickly, we need to be able to support them. But we have made a 10% reduction in that amount. In there, I think, is community grants, though, as well, which is the other thing, which obviously Turangi and has, I think, 80k a year. And there's other grants that go out as well. So that's made up in here as well.
So this is now the 600,000 year, John.
Who was that?
That's the 600,000 that goes across for all distributions and partnership agreements.
Yep.
Is that in there?
It's in there. It's part of that amount. So in there, you've got essentially the event stuff in the community grants. If you take the event stuff, as John said, other than Ironman, it's a reduction on previous, but then obviously the Ironman part in there as well, which is a one-off, which has an income, and then you've got the 600 odd K for community grants. So the decisions for council really is the event stuff. You know, does that right? It's definitely our recommendation Steve's recommendation that's where it should sit, but it's up to you ultimately. And then the second piece is around those community grants. And I'd say that, again, it's our recommendation that it remains where it is. Obviously, people are going to be struggling now with other forms of income drying up through pokey funds and stuff like that. So I don't think now's the time to reduce that amount. I'd say the conversation would be, do you wish to increase it? And obviously, we struggle to justify an increase just because we're trying to get to a 0% rates increase. Some other councils have increased that line. Rotorua, as an example, has increased that line significantly to cover some of the social elements of harm in their communities. But we certainly weren't in that place as management.
Okay, thanks, Gareth. I think we'll take aboard your suggestion there. Is everyone else happy with that? It just leads down to sponsorship. This is, what is this, Alan or Neil or John? Sponsorship, is it probably an opportunity to pull out of this particular thing, because So
there'll be a specific thing on this SLT. Who knows the details on this one?
I think there's the Christmas parades are in here for three communities.
Oh,
that's
yeah.
the one.
Support those.
As the Christmas Grinch worship, I certainly would support.
Should have remembered.
And in fact, we've talked about this at length. We had about 3 meetings with SLT about this, and I was the advocate for getting rid of it, but we decided the community actually likes it.
Yeah, no, exactly. I would hate to be the mayor that pulls the Christmas parade, I can assure you. Okay, carry on. Thanks.
Your worship, just go back one line to the donations grant to sponsorships. I understand next week, full council will have an agenda item coming to council regarding an arrangement with the Lake Taupo Cycle Challenge. So obviously, I haven't seen the agenda or the recommendations from staff. But will that have impact on? Is that included, or it can't be included?
So the current sponsorship is still in here. Whatever arrangements are in place is still there. We haven't amended that.
Okay, thanks, John.
Cool. Legal fees?
We don't tend to budget too much in this particular area because you never quite know what's going to evolve. As you all experience, there's a lot of unbudgeted legal expense papers brought to councils over the triennium. This is really the basic amount that we feel is justified within the budget. I'm not sure, Brian's not there, I don't think, to be able to add much to it, but
No, I'm here, Alan.
oh, are you? Okay.
But you're right, I can't add much to it. Really, as Alan said, it's really a nominal figure. If I think back to the items we've had in the past where we've come with unbudgeted requests for legal fees, it's been quite a variety, be it in the regulatory area or district plan, and going to Simpson and Grierson. So it's a consolidated figure across the board, but I would say, for an example, in terms of the reserves area, we don't cover all bases internally with as much as the work that Nigel and Ella do. So we do need to go out for specialist legal advice from time to time. You will see that regularly coming through in your agenda items, for those of you who've been in council a while.
So we have taken a little bit of a, as you'll see there, $35,000 reduction there, but yeah, that's a reasonable amount.
Yeah, it's a bit of a guess, no doubt. Yeah.
So
No,
in
that's-
the infrastructure team, we go through Nigel, obviously, and he provides us guidance in that space. But sometimes he directs us for some of the more specific RMA type stuff. So, yeah.
It will be fair to say, councillors, we are going to focus on this area obviously for the next 12 months to try and constrain as much of that to in-house as possible, but there are times we just can't do that.
So this is one of those budget areas, we've spoken about a few of them, that on a practice perspective will come back up to SLT now. So we're going to control the budget on a central basis rather than being in individual pots. So try and get some of those savings as we go.
Okay, cool. Resource consent?
Yeah, that's a minor cost of where we need to pay for a consent that's not completely within council. So in other words, it can involve other parties like regional council or something of that nature.
Yep.
So it's just a minor.
Yep. Subscriptions?
Okay, we've pulled back quite a bit on this one. What we've done is looked at all the memberships that we have, and there's a number of them that we have decided to reduce the number of people who actually hold that level of membership. You look at Local Government New Zealand and Solgum and things of this nature. So we've taken a pretty hard-nosed approach, and you can see the reduction that we've made as far as current subscriptions are concerned.
So
we
what's
still
left
need
there?
to subscribe to a lot of these parties.
Yeah, so what's left there, Your Worship, you've obviously got LGNZ and whatnot, but a majority of them are things around your library. So yeah, providing that library service. And One Music, obviously, whenever you in our customer service centres and the GLC, etc., whenever someone plays a song, we have to pay for royalties on that. So it's things like that which you really can't get out of in the business that we're in.
Yeah. Okay, valuations? We've just had a valuation done. Is that fun?
Yeah, I can do this one if you like.
Yeah.
So this is to run the 3 yearly valuations that we have. So basically, the cost is spread over the 3 years, but it's pretty well solely to do with the 3 yearly valuation of the district.
So
it's a contract cost that is what it is, really.
Yeah. So so it's about 900K then, the contract for whoever's
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So we did discuss briefly about, and if we go back a number of years, we did actually run an annual one. There's a higher cost to that. So this is the most cost-effective way of proceeding. It's the minimum of 3 yearly is what the requirement is.
And that goes out to tender, does it, Neil?
That is correct, yes.
Yeah, thank you. All right, research and development. That's pretty much the same. Pretty straightforward. All right. carry on. Where are we now? Okay, maintenance costs.
Yeah, so we'll hand over to Kevin for this, but just I guess highlight there under there's basically circa $500,000 savings that's been shown there. But we'll hand over to the maintenance for Kevin to work our way through these.
Thanks, Kevin.
So just really starting off on the roading maintenance, just as a reminder, because of our pumice soils, and we're very lucky. We are very cheap compared to our around New Zealand, but certainly in the Waikato area, we come out about $225 roughly per ratepayer in that space for maintenance on our roads, which is probably half the next best, other than Hamilton City, because it's more compact, but half the next best. But we are 1/7 of some of those highest. So our figures here are substantially lower compared to most other councils, and that's because of our pumice soils. But again, it also means that when we start to shave stuff off here, we really struggle in that space and such. So just worth noting that.
Your worship, through Kevin, through the obviously mentioned the fortunate given the pumice soils. Where's the major? Was it spread across the whole district? Where's the major impact? Is that the rural roads, or is this obviously where were the major impacts?
For these ones, we had some money set aside in the maintenance to do some work around, but really the ones where we've shaved back here, and we're probably going to need your assistance as well as elected members, is the likes of Wairaki Drive and Lake Terrace. The mowing of those, we've allowed for the current mowing level. Every now and then we get complaints, and we can instruct them rush out there and do something. We haven't got that bit of leeway now underneath the budget here. The other thing is we've really honed to and taken to the maintenance of the berms. When we get complaints, sometimes we go right in there on our white horse and fix that up, even though we had nothing to do with it. We've taken that budget out there. So it's these little things here that I'd really like some assistance from elected members, just to remember those when the complaints do come, and they will come, around those things, and kind of assist us in fending off some of those, because we are in these unusual times and we have had to make some changes, and these are where we've chosen to make the changes, because it's least we're not attacking the integrity of the pavements, not attacking the integrity of our roads, and our footpaths where we have issues as well. So it's really those things which are nice to have. No one is going to have a car accident if the grass is a little bit longer in certain areas and that. So that's where the roading team have gone through and said that they can make some changes in those spaces.
Yes, through the chair, that will be the case. I obviously understand that. Obviously people like it's a good feel factor. People like Sean Vanel, Rennie Taupo, all the work they do, these community groups do out there to keep the Wairaki Drive nice and sort of attractive for people coming into town as visitors and locals. So yeah, but not that the maintenance of the mowing is his responsibility, but it all ties in together, the end result, the end effect.
Yeah, I think what we're going to do mention though is we're not saying we're not going to do any. It's just that really when some of these things come along, we might, if we can get a bit of leeway and wait 2 or 3 weeks after complaints, it will be scheduled to be done again, if you know what I mean. So it's a matter of just fending us and assisting in some time here. We have allowed Wairaki drivers is one. We once every 5 or 6 weeks we cut it during the busy time, right? So it's just a matter of, rather than just racing out there because we've had a number of complaints, maybe waiting a couple of weeks.
I'm not being critical. I'm just
I get that. It's just I think we've got to. It would assist us as the operations team if we could have that assistance through the elected members as well.
Kevin, just through the chair, Kevin, earlier today we talked about the communication plan, and I think that's where all us councillors could help, making sure that the initial media releases that go out, possibly just with explanations, can be actually reiterated by all councillors to each of their portfolio groups, to their communities.
Yeah, thank you.
Good communication.
That is something the senior leadership team just had a discussion on this morning, is around communicating this to staff, but to elected members and also the wider community, and that's something that we'll turn our eye to once we've gone through this process with you, so we know what those key messages will be.
Yeah, you did right. You know, let people know. They won't mind if it, as long as we let everyone know what the story is. So you did right.
Through you, Mr. Chairman.
Yes, John.
Your Worship. Could I make a comment? None of this is CapEx. So when we finally get to the annual plan breakdowns in these cost centres, will they be sort of part of the increased level of services? So, for instance, what we're looking at there on maintenance to do with roading, they'll then be factored into those areas. Is that what's going to happen? What I'm saying, will this show in the increased level of services, as it's not CapEx in those cost centres, when we finally get to the end of the line doing the annual plan?
Only for a year, isn't it?
Yeah, for a year, that's correct, for the annual plan, not long-term, annual plan.
I'm not sure I'm following the question probably, but I don't know, Kevin or Alan, do you understand?
I was hoping someone else might follow it, because I'm so sorry.
Well, what I'm saying is at the moment we're looking at it's quite broad. If we look at maintenance roading, there's 4 million.
Yeah.
When we get to doing the annual plan, that will be broken down under transport. And will it show like we've got at the moment those number of things that we've done, whether it's Wiley Terrace or those sorts of things? Will it be broken down that 4 million?
So I think you're confusing the capital works program and the operations.
I know it's not capital. It's not capital. I know it's not capital. That's what I'm saying. Is it going to be increases of service?
No,
Okay, I can probably answer that if you like. Well,
Yeah,
sorry, I can try. I think I understand the question, John. So in the annual plan, we show the financials both at a whole of council level, so that's total employee costs, like you see now, but a bit further broken down. And then we also show the groups of activities, i.e. transportation, wastewater, water. Under those group of activities in the operations area, you will see the total cost of operations, which is really what you're looking at there in terms of that 4 million being the operational side. What we don't do though into the operations is, unlike CapEx, where you break it down to Wiley Terrace, this and the other projects, for the operational side of it, we don't actually break that down to show, okay, we're doing a roading reseal here, or the maintenance aspects of the roading by location. It's just shown as that high level aggregate figure. I think hopefully I'm along the right lines here in respect to your question.
Yeah, all I know it's not CapEx, and it's to do with the annual plan as it is at the moment. It's what we call that increased level of services. That could be LED lighting, Tirahonga Road widening. That's what's broken down in the annual plans.
Yeah, so this is not, so increased level of service relates to capital works. Your maintenance is actually just maintaining your existing assets. So it's not an increased level of service, it's just maintaining the assets you have.
So it's not included under renewals then?
Correct. This is purely maintenance expenditure. Renewals are a separate expenditure line.
So I think probably what's confusing you, John, is we've never showed you this detail before, and so this is about, say, it's maintaining what we've got.
Yeah, well, if I look at renewals in the year we're in now, it's a lot less than that. So yeah, that probably clarifies it. Thank you. Okay, all right. Going down the maintenance line, it's all pretty much standard. It's compulsory, really, isn't it? By the look of it, apart from
the subs means it's subsidised through NCTA, so we'll get 51% for that. That we've made a reduction in the maintenance of the lights. So these are the street lights. To be fair, the previous years prior to that, which you don't get to see, were 500 and high 400s for the previous 2 years. We do know that we're having a reduction because we've been heavily implementing LED lights. So they're not just cheaper to run, they actually last longer and have less maintenance issues. So we're having a stab in the dark with that one. But with this one, if we start getting close to the end of the year, because it's a safety thing, we'll bring it back to you if we start getting close to that budget and have a discussion around that, because I'd hate to pull back on the safety aspects, which is really the next three as well, around maintenance of signs, lights and road markings. But they're pretty much in that same space where we've had multiple years, quite a lot higher than what we're showing there. Prior to, we're pulling it back. But again, the road marking's another one there. We'll keep an eye on it. If safety becomes an issue, we'll bring it back to unbudgeted towards the end of the year. But I simply can't put my hand on my heart and say we will spend it. We don't know. It's just a case by case, year by year.
Christine, Deputy, I realise you've got to go shortly, so if you want to just leave when you want to that other meeting.
Thank you very much.
Cool, carry on, thanks, Kev.
Cool. I'll get down to there's a couple of increases there in the wastewater and the water, and I think it's fairly well understood that in those particular areas, we are doing substantive amount of work, and the bar has been raised. So staying within budgets or even decreasing budgets is just impossible. And these are the things to be compliant in the drinking water standards and with our resource consents. And while I've got the floor, we had an abatement notice last week. So this is, like at our regional council, are just getting harder in those compliance things. That was for Kinloch with some overflows we had over Christmas. And it's a pretty time restrained abatement notice as well. So it's something that's the world we live in, and central government is pushing them hard in this space as well. But yeah, as far as the water and the wastewater is concerned, lots of extra work there, and I won't. I've got detail here, but it's probably not worth going into unless you've got some specific questions around it. It's around that, making sure we haven't got wastewater going into the lake. We've been pretty aggressive in that, and to be fair, this is probably something that we are close to best practice in, and it's because our community, us as staff and elected members, our iwi, they all value that really, really highly. So we were reluctant to pull back on that.
Okay, going down the line, I think buildings is the next one that's quite a big change, Kevin. That's just maintenance, like repainting and things like that.
Yeah, again, this is, I'll just pull up my notes.
I see we had a redo of the Great Lakes Centre roof. It looks the butanol on the, or a re-clean or something like that. I hope that was still on the cards. That was all, because that looks.
I think so. Just hang on a second. I'm just having trouble with my own spreadsheet here. Can't get to see stuff.
Ooh, what's that?
No, it's someone sending me texts. I hope nothing's blowing up.
Maintenance buildings.
Yeah, maintenance buildings in both of these. So you'll see one has gone down substantially and one has gone up. The up one, the up one is basically the asbestos management plans that we have to do legislative-wise now. We now know what we need to do on certain buildings. So that one's increased. So overall, we've taken quite a significant hit down on the buildings. And again, the team there said, yes, we can do that. What it means is, in general, we're looking at probably putting Band-Aids on things and fixing things up in their area without doing them probably a permanent fix. So I'll give an example. If we put a hole in a toilet or hole in a wall, we'll go back and fix that immediate panel up, maybe paint it to match in the best we could, but really the correct thing to do is probably paint the entire wall. So that's the type of thing, by taking those types of cuts that we are down to, and that's just clear from our facilities teams that that's the space that we are in. Now, related to this, it's probably more in the reserves one, the budget sits, and I want to bring it up as an example as well, is we've set a 6,000 aside for the glass panes in the Turangi Mall, the replacement panes there. We have spent substantially more than that over the previous years, and it was just something that we wanted to highlight, that spending 20,000, 25,000 every time one of those cracks is probably not the space that we want to be in right now. If we're looking for savings, and we've allocated a small amount there to do that. But again, it's one of these ones that we'd really appreciate the elected members, and we'll get some comms out around that, around the expectations. We're certainly not going to be able to do I think a pretty good job, which the team have been doing. And sometimes, it's challenging, sometimes not good enough for certain parts of the community. But that'll become, I wouldn't say the norm, but we'll have more of those complaints. And that's just a fact of cutting $140,000 out of one of those budgets.
Okay, I don't suppose Gareth Robinson's here, but just a GLC roof, I'm just not too sure.
We can come back to you on that one, Your Worship. Yeah.
Yeah, we can come back on that one there, but it's just in general. The other one is it's reserves. I think we'll just skip past it, but it's there as well.
Yeah.
There's very little change there. The majority of the change is really to do with our staffing levels. So currently we're running 4 people down, and we're not going to replace those because we've had a decision that we won't do that. But that has an effect again around the mowing and that. So the way that Greg explained it and Julie and Andrew explained it to me is probably 2 years ago when we were getting a few complaints. We're probably going to be more in that space around the numbers if we're not replacing those. But what we will do a lot better, because we've now planned and managed it around it, is we will have those areas where we can't get to. They won't be the lakefront. They won't be Seacombe Park. They're more likely to be stormwater gullies and those types of areas. But again, we can't remove 4 staff in the parks, and not replace them. They're not, they've just attrition. They've left the organisation. We've chosen not to fill in for now, and we're wanting to continue that for a while. You probably won't notice anything until October, but then we will be asking for a little bit of leeway to make sure that we can mow some of those areas a little bit less frequently in the stormwater gullies and other areas. So
it's key growing times, Your Worship.
Yeah,
Key growing times, you'll notice it.
Yeah, I guess it just leads me to another conversation we haven't got time for today, but this is where the community can really get involved. Adopt a Titoki Reserve scenario or greening type, or there's so many idle community members out there. There's a real partnership opportunity here. We ain't got the money to maintenance Titoki Reserve. There'd be 20 people I could probably name up there. They'd love to do it. So yeah, but anyway, that's a
through the chair, just expanding on that. Obviously, we had a meeting out at Seacombe Park a couple of weeks ago. Was a couple of members of the community discussing things exactly along those lines. So about getting the communities, there are other community groups involved. So obviously the issue is people want to have rates reduced or 0 rates increases, reduce the level of service, but they still want all the stuff done. So there has to be some sort of community engagement too there to get things done, relationships.
It could
So
be
Greg's always happy, Your Worship, to have those conversations, and that's the conversation we had out at Seacombe. There's some health and safety considerations, so we need to train people up and reduce what they're doing so that they're not putting themselves or others at risk. But other than that, he's more than happy to chat to people and get them into reserve.
Yeah, I just think come October, the key message will be. It's not that the team are letting the community down. It's just that they are stretched. And so we really want that as the first reaction and answer back is like, hey, maybe we just got to wait another week or 2, and they will get around to it. So it's just a matter of those discussions.
Yeah,
the team would greatly appreciate that.
Cool. Okay, thanks, Kev. Okay, so there's an overall maintenance cost saving. Oh, the only one was software. Software, I presume, is for your wastewater plants and things like that.
No, that's all our software. It's everything from what we're doing now through to document management. It's the annual cost of running software. We have about 160 software solutions, but you can see we've chipped away this year by reducing. Some of Quantum is about reducing our environment as well. So we've chipped away a bit there, and the intent is to try and chip away as we go along, reducing our software solutions and trying to sort of make some inroads into that. But that's what it costs to run the main software that we have.
So it's fixed cost, Your Worship. You can't do much about it. It's IT cost.
Cool. Okay. All right. Thank you very much. So the whole saving is 422, which is good. All right. We'll go on the next line unless there's any questions. I hope everyone's still there. Right. Cleaning.
Yeah, we realised that with the new way of operating, our cost of cleaning is going to go up. We don't know under level 1 to what extent the costs will hit us, but we've basically looked at everything and said, well, okay, that's roughly the ballpark of what we expect, but who's to tell?
Yeah. Okay, probably.
Because we've got the staff doing a lot of their own cleaning as far as wiping keyboards and door handles and all those sort of things.
Yeah. Okay, shall we whip down them pretty quickly, I think, Alan, because I don't think there's too many real standouts, is there?
No, you've got the grant here. No, there's nothing that really stands out from my perspective, but some councillors might have some questions on it.
Yep, any questions there, councillors? What do we pay regional rates on all our, I suppose we pay like everyone else.
Correct.
That will do.
Okay, thank you. All right, next one. Oh,
So
that's the
of
final one.
those, yeah,
Yep.
the total expenses there, we've saved just over $1 million, 1.1 million. What we haven't looked at yet is the finance costs and depreciation, which are major expenses, because that's going to be an outworking of next week's discussion on the CapEx as to what you agree to as far as the areas of new CapEx and the level of renewals. So that hopefully will give us another significant amount of savings to enable us to end up in the picture or position we want to. But as I say, it's you're talking close to 30 million over the finance costs and depreciation. So the decisions you make on the CapEx will contribute towards completing this gap.
Okay, thank you, Alan. Appreciate all the work that's gone into this and all your all the various departments. So,
Your Worship, just before we cut off, I see Tina's answered in the chat there about the travel time.
Right.
She says there, travel time, Tina, you might be there. Travel time is paid after the first hour of travel at a pro rata rate. So 1 hour and 15 minutes travel would be at half of the $37 allowance, and 1 hour 45 would be at the full rate.
So, Tom, if I'm coming from Kinloch, say, or whatever, so you've got to travel an hour before the payment kicks in, is that right?
Yeah, so basically for our councils, unless they're going out of district, it would only apply to Turangi and Mangakino in terms of the travel time to and from the meeting.
Yeah, sorry, I'm a bit thick. So 40 minutes from Turangi, so it wouldn't kick it. You accumulate the return as well. Okay,
yes.
right.
Yeah.
I see.
Yeah.
I see. Okay.
And we don't claim it.
No.
No, and
That's
I
why
don't
the-
claim it either.
Yeah. No, awesome. I think possibly whether it makes any difference or not, we leave that figure in just in case there are travel times out of the district. I don't know. What are the councillors? Up to you guys. Whatever you want.
Well, through you,
take it out.
Worship, I'm happy to jump in here because attending the Regional Transport Committee in Hamilton, I've done it a couple of times now. I'm not claiming it. I don't intend to claim it. We're getting paid anyway. I haven't actually even claimed the mileage, which I may or may not do, but I'm happy for it to go. I know it's a token amount, but I think it sends the right message, and it's around perceptions to my mind.
Yeah.
So I'm happy for it to go.
Yeah, I concur with that. I've
agreed.
never put it in. So yeah, absolutely. I wouldn't. I'm being paid to do a job and not to travel. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay. Thank you very much, Alan. You're still there. If you could take that,
Yeah, we'll
remove
take it
that
out.
cost center out. Thank you. And appreciate the comments here. All
So,
right.
Worship, that's
Gareth?
us, I think, in terms of the OPEX at this point.
Yep.
So the next step, and I think we're in again Tuesday next week, and we'll start on the CapEx list. I
Yes.
suspect that'll probably take, it'll definitely take Tuesday's workshops. It potentially could go through to Thursday. So I think if we do that, and then there's a little bit of mop up left from that, and for us to to see where the dollars, etc., are. Some sort of further discussions around that, and then you're pretty much done. And you're pretty much there.
All right.
Just through the chair, I don't have any workshop appointments next week.
Okay.
Let's have a look. What did you say, Tuesday, Gareth?
Tuesday, the 2nd of June is a workshop day, but nothing next week.
Mayor and
You're
Council.
right. You're right.
The next-
There's nothing in the diary.
So next week, Tuesday is the council meeting.
Yep.
Yeah, that's at 1 o'clock. So you've got mayor and councillor, only time, I don't know.
Yeah, so you've got that, and then you've got the police coming in as well
And then the council
before
meeting.
before the meeting. So there might be a little bit of time between your councillors' SLT time and the police coming in to do some. And then we've got the one for the Thursday, which will be coming out shortly as a calendar appointment.
It's a relatively quick agenda on the Thursday for the council meeting as well, Tina, isn't it?
Yeah.
So putting something else in the morning there wouldn't be a bad thing, even if you, if you wanted to go 9 o'clock even. Yeah, if people were happy to do an earlier start, do 9 through to the mayor and council and just sort of do it like that. Would people be happy with that?
Yep.
Yeah. No problem.
Just to bring your lunch.
Just a quick question. Are we meeting in the chamber on Tuesday?
Yes, we had a look yesterday and able to sort out the seating so that it will work. So Tuesday will be in the chambers.
Second question is, will I be able to get a hard copy before Tuesday? Particularly the finances.
Yep, definitely. Just email Shani like you normally do and she'll pop one in your cubby hole.
Okay, thank you.
So at the council chamber at 9 o'clock on Tuesday, Gareth, is that what you're saying?
I think if you're happy with that, your worship, and councillors are, I think, yeah, absolutely. Let's get Kevin, is that okay for you? Because you're going to be going through majority of the CapEx.
Sorry, I was on the call before.
Sorry. 9 o'clock on Tuesday morning, starting the CapEx. Is that okay for you?
It'll push us a little bit, but we've been pushed pretty hard over the last month anyway. So we'll try and get something ready to start.
So Gareth, we didn't actually have the CapEx booked in for that day.
No.
So Kev, it's a bit unfair to Kevin. So when were you thinking about coming back, Kev?
I think we talked about Thursday.
Correct.
And Tina had a tentative time.
I think it was in the afternoon.
Yeah. Okay. Well, what do councillors feel that we do the CapEx on Thursday, or?
Will this be instead of the 2nd of June? Well, if we get through it.
Yeah, we'd have to see, John. I don't know. It's we've been going pretty fast. Been going pretty well, but it's really up to you guys how much discussion you want to have and stuff like that.
Why don't we just keep Tuesday as council day?
Yep.
Concentrate on council only, and we've got the mayor and council. We're going to catch up with you, Gareth, at 9:30, haven't we?
Yep.
It's in the chamber. Then we've got the mayor and councillor only time. Then we can have a break, because now that we've got to procure lunches, that could be, we can go down to the town and then have there's no public forum, Tina?
No, you agreed last time to not have this one. Yeah.
Yeah, obviously. And then what time were the police coming in? Sorry.
I just have to double check. I think it's 11:30 to 12.
11:30 on the calendar.
Okay, and then we have a break between 12 and 1.
Yes.
Okay, and so we're all there at 9:30 on Tuesday morning.
Cool.
Yep.
Cool. Sorry, David, you were after the Great Lakes Centre roof. Was that the one?
Yes. Yep.
Yeah. So Gareth has confirmed, that was the phone call I was on. He's confirmed that that's still getting done. Yep.
Still getting done. Cool. Lovely. Okay. Well, thanks very much, everyone, and thank you especially to Gareth and your team. To come up with $1 million saving just like that is great work. So doesn't probably sound much in the scheme of things, but it makes a certainly difference to our target towards zero rate increase. So thank you very much, and we will see you. Anything tomorrow? Don't think so.
Not
there is.
Oh yeah, is there something tomorrow?
Is there something at 1:30 to do with lake protection?
Oh,
Yes,
yes,
so
yeah.
that's the joint
Workshop.
workshop with Waikato Regional Council.
Yep.
And Tuwharetoa. The Crown have said that they won't be attending that one, but it'll be, yeah, Regional Council and Tuwharetoa.
Okay, just on that one, Gareth, sorry, it's probably, who's chairing that one? How's it work? So I talked to Tanya. Oh, Tanya's there. Hello, Tanya.
Tanya is there. Just bearing in mind that we are still live and we are recording. So just,
Okay, right. Okay. All right. I'll give Tanya a call and we'll suss that out.
Well, Neville
Tanya.
Williams has been doing it, so up till now.
Who's that, John? Sorry?
Neville Williams has been doing it the last couple of times.
Okay, yeah, I'll get a briefing from Tanya anyway. Oh, there you are, Tanya.
Yes, shall I give you a call, Your Worship?
Yep, that'll be cool. Thank
Okay.
you.
thanks,
Thank
All
Tanya.
right. Thanks very much, everyone. Good
Bye.
to see you. Okay, bye.